so we're far enough away from Las Vegas now. I can come back on and start talking to everybody here. So the area we're coming up on here with the golf courses there and the water on the left, that's all Lake Las Vegas neighborhood. And Lake Las Vegas down there on the left is a man-made lake, kind of fed by that little waterway there called the Las Vegas Wash. And eventually it goes all the way back over to Lake Mead, just out ahead of us there. And Lake Mead there, also man-made lake, actually the largest man-made lake in the United States. And was formed when they constructed the Hoover Dam across the Colorado River back in the 1930s. So that's going to be kind of our next point of interest on the ride here, just up ahead of us, the Hoover Dam lobby. And so I'll tell you all a little bit more about that once we get a little closer here, but until we make it over, I'll tell you a little bit more about Lake Mead. It's really important for Las Vegas because it does serve as the drinking water supply for the city. And a lot of the news recently about the lower level of Lake Mead, it's lost quite a bit of water, which you can kind of see all the way around there, that whiter colored line all the way around the lake. That's the high water mark that the lake was at back in 1983. The reason for the low level of Lake Mead here, just the drought the region's been going through for the last 20 or so years. And the biggest impact that's having just on the Colorado River, which is gets its water from melting snow up in the Rockies, so drought causing a lot less snowfall compared to historical averages. And really at the moment the only solution till the drought eases is just for all the states that utilize the river to kind of cut back on their usage. And that's easier said than done because there are quite a few states that utilize the river. You've got the state of Colorado, of course, Wyoming, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, California, and the country of Mexico, all using the river. And Las Vegas here actually does a fairly good job at conserving water. Over the last 30 or so years, the county has basically cut the water usage per person in half, despite also adding 1.5 million residents to the area, so it's a pretty good feat. And like I said, with the Las Vegas Wash back there, that's actually where the water gets returned to the lake here. Any of the water that Las Vegas uses gets retreated and sent back to the lake here. But getting back to the dam here, just on the right side in the valley over there, you can see Boulder City over there. And Boulder City got its start as the housing area for a lot of the workers out here who came out from 31 to 36 when the project was going on. And the families that came with them, because at the time, Great Depression going on, so a lot of the people came out here in the search for employment. And for a period of time, Boulder City was actually the most populated area out here, just because most of Vegas wasn't really constructed until the 40s and 50s. And the beginning of the Hoover Dam project actually also coincided with when Nevada legalized gambling statewide, which, another fact about Boulder City, it's one of the only places in Nevada that doesn't allow casinos, which I would say is a holdover from the times where they were constructing the dam, just because the company constructing the dam didn't really want the workers getting involved with the all the stuff going on in Las Vegas there. Where the dam's going to come into view here, just on the left side, you'll see that bridge coming into view there across the Colorado River. So we're going to head towards the river here, and once we get there, we're going to make a left turn right towards the dam there, which is going to come into view behind the bridge. And we're going to go right past it off our right-hand side. When they finished construction, used a little over 3 million cubic yards of concrete, which, to put it in perspective, is actually enough to pave a highway from Seattle all the way down to Florida across the United States. And the biggest challenge with building anything with that much concrete, just getting it to dry in a quick time frame. And the way they did that with the dam was actually by building a system of pipes through there to carry cold water from the lake. Kind of help with the thermal reaction that happens when concrete dries. And the dam there, you can actually still go and drive your car across the top there and walk across. You can see all the people down there. So it is actually pretty cool, little half-day trip out of Vegas. It's only about a 40-minute drive from the Strip. And they have started operating the tours to the interior of the dam, down into the power plant there, and they'll show you some of the power turbines and all that. It's a pretty cool tour. Not very expensive either. It's only about $30, I think, for the most expensive one they offer. But from here at the dam, we're going to continue up this way past the hill on our left there, which is called Fortification Hill. And once we get around that, we're eventually going to go up and around the ridgeline here, up ahead of us to the right, to an area called Indian Pass, where the ridge dips down a little bit up ahead. And after that, we're going to keep heading east and make our way out towards the canyon there. we make our way out there, you can see all the water on the left there. That's all still Lake Mead over on this side. And Lake Mead, the shoreline encompasses about 550 miles all the way around. And where it begins, just on the other side of that little hill between us and the cliffs out ahead of us there. It's on the back side of that where the Colorado River starts flowing into the lake there. And makes its way around the hillside out to the two bays here. So the one on the left here, that's Benelli Bay coming up. And then on the opposite side is Echo Bay over there. And then the lake eventually makes its way through the rocks behind us to the left there to a spot called the Narrows that we're going to fly past on the way back towards Vegas. And in addition to being the drinking water supply for the city of Las Vegas, Lake Mead here, also a very popular recreational area. It's actually managed by the National Park Service. And we'll see a lot of campers down there in the cooler months. And a lot of boaters pretty much year-round. And a lot of people do ask as well about the color of Lake Mead. You can see in the sun it is quite a deep blue color. And a couple of different reasons for that. First one being just the, as I mentioned, the mineral content of the lake here. With that white line all the way around there, that's just the minerals that get left behind. So that kind of interacts with the light as it passes through. And the other reasons are the depth of Lake Mead, which the maximum depth goes down to 530 feet. And the average depth, about half that, 225. But because of that, we will have pretty big temperature fluctuations in the lake depending on where you're looking as far as depth goes. So the deeper parts are a lot cooler than the upper levels. And because of that, we'll get algae growth here and there on the top parts of the lake, usually in the warmer months. And that'll also give it a little bit of a green tint in certain places. And we do usually see some animal life on the rides, usually around Lake Mead here. And usually down here we'll see wild cattle, wild donkeys, that kind of thing. Occasionally wild horses. But there are a lot of other animals. Usually we'll only see up at the top by Grand Canyon West up there. So, you know, we'll see bighorn sheep up there, deer, antelope, elk, coyotes up there as well. Species of wild boar that are called javelinas out here. And we do get mountain lions in the desert as well out here, but generally won't ever see those during the daytime. And a lot of reptiles as well, rattlesnakes, we'll see those usually a few a year. Also lizards, tortoises, a lot of bird species, ravens, fairly common out here, also hawks and vultures. Quite a bit does manage to survive despite the harsh climate out here. And we're coming up on the right here. You can see a little settlement down there. So that's an area called Temple Bar. And Temple Bar is mostly just trailers, that kind of thing. It's mostly a vacation spot. But they do have a little marina in the water there on the left, and a little airfield on the right side by all the water retention area there. And all that's named after Temple Bar Rock, which is that kind of flat vertical one across the lake in front of us there. You can see that reflected in Lake Mead. And usually I point it out just because of that, where if the lake's kind of still like it is today, you can sometimes get a pretty good photo of that as we go by. Temple Bar, we're doing pretty good on speed. We're going about 150 miles an hour, so it's going to take us roughly another 10 or so minutes there. We'll be right up at the cliffs. Top our left there, you can see that's where the Colorado meets up with the lake here. And all the dirt in the water there, that's all the sediment that gets brought down from the canyon by the river, basically deposited right at the beginning of the lake. And we're going to cross over Lake Mead here, this last point where we're actually going to cross from Nevada over to Arizona. And as we do, you might notice your clock on your phone jump ahead an hour just because Arizona does not observe daylight savings because, and so they are an hour ahead until the springtime time change again. And the last thing I can point out here, just on the right side over there, all the buildings over that way, an area called Meadview. And Meadview mostly seasonal residents up there. It was originally supposed to be a retirement community, but once the lake level started dropping back in the 1980s, a lot of the investors got kind of spooked by that. Most of the funding fell through for the project. So the land there sat mostly unused for a while, and nowadays people just buy plots up there because it is pretty cheap and put up prefabricated housing, trailers, that kind of thing. And there's only about somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 full-time residents up there. The rest are all people that only come out for part of the year. But from here we're going to continue up towards the cliffs there. We're going to climb up to 5,000 feet above sea level and hang out over the top of the canyon for a few minutes here until we begin our descent down to our landing area. So it should be another few minutes. We'll be right up at the top of the cliffs there. Westernmost edge of the canyon here. So basically the end point of the canyon off our left there where the river exits. And where the canyon begins, about 280 miles out to the northeast of here. Basically right across the border from Utah in northern Arizona here. And the canyon does change dimensions quite a bit on its way out here, but at this section it's about 4 miles from edge to edge and a little over 4,000 feet deep, about 4,400 feet from the top to the bottom. And you can see the Colorado down there. We have gotten quite a bit of rain recently, so that's might have taken all the way up to 70 million years for it to get to this point, so quite a long time. And most of the rock in the canyon here actually petrified sandstone, so it does get very brittle when it gets wet, so that kind of helps explain how the river was able to work its way through it as it did. And as far as who owns all the land out here, so the area to the left of the river there, that's all the national parks area there, so all owned by the federal government. And everything we're flying over here on the right-hand side belongs to one of a couple of different tribes who own the land out here. So the area here at the west rim is the Wallapai tribe that owns this out here. Now a little further to the east there is the Havasupai tribe, which is where Havasu Falls is located. And then all the way to the east is the Navajo area out that way. And the Wallapai manage Grand Canyon West Airport, which is just off the right there, along with the Skywalk, which is the square building all the way in the back there. And then the lookout area here closest to us, which is called Guano Point. And we do also lease our landing area down here from them and pay them a small fee each time we come down, because no one's allowed to land on the national park's land over there. guys, so here we are down in the canyon. So we'll have a little bit of time, y'all can walk around, get some photos, and we'll have some snacks and beverages for you at the table on the left there. And as soon as everything comes to a stop here, I'll come around, get the doors for everybody, okay? climbing out of Quartermaster Canyon here, so a little bit of a different route out of the canyon here. We're going to head southeast over towards our fuel farm here. And once we get over to the fuel area there, we're going to stop, put some fuel in, just because that does allow us to avoid the taxes and fees, the airport charges. So we do stop there every flight. And from there, we're going to head back over towards Lake Mead, over Benelli Bay, and then up the shoreline, back into the city. We're going to go through what's called the Bowl of Fire on the way there. And then from there, we're going to head west back to the city, basically right over the north section of town. And then right along the strip, basically paralleling I-15. And we should get back into Vegas about an hour from now, be back in there about 1:20. Alrighty guys, so here we are at our fuel stop. So we're gonna wait here for just a second. A couple of the other helicopters coming out from Vegas are gonna land on the other side. So when you guys get out, I'll have you all stay on this side here with our helicopters just because they might take off before us. And just don't go too far away from the helicopters because this will be a pretty quick stop here. We're only gonna be here for about 10 minutes. So coming up on the left here is where the Narrows is going to be. You'll see the lake is starting to take a left turn there, and it'll zigzag through the rocks there. But as we kind of pass by the Narrows, if you look over the ridge to the left there, you'll get a view of the skyline of Vegas over that direction. We're still about 25 miles away, but it'll be clear enough today. You can see it over there. And we're going to keep heading this direction. Bowl of Fire is just over the next couple of ridge lines up ahead there. And yeah, you can kind of make out the skyline of Vegas. A little hazy now, but it's off in the distance there. Coming up here where everything kind of opens up ahead of us, that's the Valley of Color just ahead of us there. So on the left here, a little more brown and tan on those rocks going by, and then if you look up to the right as we go by, a little more orange and red looking that direction. Just ahead of us there, that kind of reddish-orange area. And the bowl gets that color just from a mineral called hematite, which does have a pretty high iron concentration to it. And so that'll oxidize a lot like rust on your car, basically produce that reddish dust there. And there's three areas around Vegas. There's pretty much this, the Bowl of Fire, and then also the Valley of Fire, which is over the mountains on the right there. About a 45-minute drive out of Vegas. Then on the west side of Vegas, about a half hour from the strip there, is Red Rock Canyon. And both Red Rock and the Valley of Fire are pretty good day trips out of Vegas. Here at the Bowl, not really very many roads that take you right up to the rocks there, but the other two have pretty extensive park road system, take you right up to the rock formations. Don't really even have to do much hiking if you don't want to. And like I said, from here we're going to head back over to the west here, over towards the Vegas Valley, and we're going to kind of pass the north side of Lake Las Vegas again there. You'll be able to see that from the distance. And right over Fremont and then back to the airport. ahead of us called Frenchman's Ridge on our way back into Vegas here. Charleston Boulevard. We're flying over right here. So if you look all the way to the end of Charleston out there in the distance on the other side of the valley, that's Red Rock Canyon right over there I was mentioning earlier. And we're going to head for Fremont Street, that little cluster of buildings on the right-hand side there. That's also the downtown area of Las Vegas. Most of the city buildings, City Hall, and the courthouses, marriage licensing office all up there. And just past Fremont up there, you can see the mountains with the snow on them up there. So those are the Spring Mountains, the tallest around Vegas here. And the tallest peak up there is Mount Charleston, just under 12,000 feet. And the Fremont area here, so a lot of people do refer to that as Old Vegas because that was where Las Vegas was originally settled in 1905, right along the railroad tracks up here. But a little bit of a misnaming because technically Fremont area is the only Las Vegas because everything south of the stratosphere down there is all an unincorporated area called Paradise, Nevada. So not technically Las Vegas. And the reason for that, just for tax purposes, the hotels, casinos didn't want to pay city tax to Las Vegas. And creates a little bit of an interesting situation with the local government here because the mayor of Las Vegas really only has authority right up here in Fremont, whereas everything on the south side of the strip there, that's all the Clark County Commissioner's office that's in charge of that down there. So really, I would say most of Las Vegas, the county has a lot more authority than really the local government does. And we're going to go right over the street experience here. That's kind of gray dome there. You can see the tower for the zip line there right at the beginning of it. Now we're going to make a left turn here, head back in towards the airport. You got the Stratosphere right on the left there, tallest building in Las Vegas, 1,149 feet. And you got the rides up at the top there if you're feeling adventurous, and if you're feeling really adventurous, you can jump off the side there, attached to the cable system they've got. Gives you a controlled descent down to the bottom of the tower there. And off our left side here, just beyond the Encore there in the wind, you can see that big black sphere over there. So that is going to be a concert venue called the MSG Sphere, owned by the Madison Square Garden Group, same people with the venue in New York. And should be opening sometime this year. And you can see the high roller over there on the left, the observation wheel. So that is second tallest in the world, actually. It was the tallest until Dubai decided to build one 200 feet taller, as they like to do with just about everything. Gotta be the biggest and the best. And we're going to continue to head into the airport here. We're going to make a left turn right around Mandalay Bay up here. And you got Allegiant Stadium right on the right-hand side here, home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Which they will occasionally open up the windows there on the outside just to let the fans of the game get a view of the strip. Alright guys, so here we are back at the terminal. We'll give everything a second to come to a stop here, and I'll walk you all back in.